Berg is the professor at University of North Carolina, Charlotte, and the author of The Surprising Science of Meetings. Joins me from North Carolina. What do you make of this? I know what the mischief was meant to be cured, but does it do it?
That's a great question. I liken it to a New Year's resolution, right? If you have a New Year's resolution, I'm going to stop eating meat. There could be a host of unintended consequences associated with that action. So that's one detraction from just a wholesale removal of meetings. Furthermore, what I'd rather teach people is how to have a healthy lifestyle, because that type of change sustains itself over time. The same thing can happen with meetings. We could change organizational cultures and leadership behaviors so that meetings truly work. Even not only work, but serve to engage employees, include employees, and actually can promote productivity and
the problem
return on investment.
The problem is many people who are calling the meetings or leading the meetings are incompetent.
That's exactly right. And that's what this solution doesn't solve. We need to level up leadership skills when it comes to meetings. The research shows that only around 20% of leaders ever receive any training on meetings. That's pretty crazy when you think about how much time is spent in this activity.
I have a rule which I try to follow, and often, of course, one follows it in the breach. But I have a rule that any meeting, well, pretty much no meeting lasts more than 20 minutes. If it's lasting more than 20 minutes, something's gone wrong.
I love that idea. I love the idea of tight meetings, especially because of something called Parkinson's Law. And Parkinson's Law is the idea that work expands to fill whatever time is allotted to it. So if a meeting is scheduled for an hour, it will take an hour. But if a meeting is scheduled for 20 minutes, it will take 20 minutes.
So how do you tell people, let's say you're in a meeting and you need to telegraph to the fellow participants that this isn't going down very well, it's a boring load of old nonsense, and actually we've all got better things to do. How would you say that?
That's a tough challenge for an attendee. What I'd rather have is meeting leaders start to state that instead of expecting attendees to do that. This is where, leaders receiving training, but ultimately meetings exist within a broader ecosystem. We could start changing conversations around meetings. We could start asking leaders to meet with their teams and have conversations such as, well, what meetings are actually needed? We could have conversations around who really needs to attend various meetings, conversations around how long meetings should be and what types of norms we want to have. Meetings are collective experiences. So therefore, let's engage the team in having these conversations as opposed to some top-down initiative that doesn't fundamentally change that ecosystem.
The other thing I always remember about meetings is that most of the attendees, particularly in a meeting of about, say, anywhere between 7 to 15 people, a largish meeting, they will hunt in a pack. They will find out which way the wind is blowing from the boss in the big chair and follow slavishly as that movement goes. They'll spot who's the weak person, who's the person being beaten up, who's the person who's the best boy or girl in town.
That can certainly happen, but a lot of that can be prevented by leaders expressing a set of values around what they're truly hoping to have happen in a meeting and what they hope to avoid. Right now, while we have millions and millions and millions of meetings a day, there's no conversation really around how we want to have these meetings, what are our collective expectations. Furthermore, there's a lot of ways we can diversify our meetings to make them more effective and get more voices and less politics. For example, I'm sorry.
Don't we have to be careful that we don't have meetings about meetings to discuss meetings?
I want to have a little bit of time where people discuss meetings as a process and a system and a communication vehicle. So yes, I don't want to institute a whole bunch of meetings about meetings, but I want to take all the energy that exists out there, all the discomfort that people have,
Yeah.
and I want to translate that to positive energy on how we can make these things better. After all, meetings are actually an evolution from what we used to have during the Industrial Revolution, which is just command and control processes. Meetings are essential for communication, cooperation, coordination, consensus decision making. It's where organizational democracy takes place. So we don't want to eliminate organizational democracy. We just want to make it work for us. And that's where the science can really kick in.
I'm so glad to have you on the program today, sir. We'll talk more about this as the year moves on. Thank you for giving us your time. Thank you.